sale at blindster.com. At Blindster, we offer custom-made faux wood and real wood blinds and shutters, cellular shades, Roman shades, bamboo shades, exterior shades, and more, all at factory direct prices. Don't pay too much for new blinds. Go to blindster.com.
Is this the tether?
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
A monumental win Sunday for the UCLA women's basketball team. The Brewers beat number 1 South Carolina 77-62 in front of a sellout crowd at Pauley Pavilion. The win snapped South Carolina's 43-game winning streak. It was also the first win for UCLA over a number 1 team in program history. London Jones led the 5-0 Bruins with 15 points off the bench. The Clippers started a 4-game road trip with a 125-99 win at Philadelphia. James Harden had 23 points and 8 assists. The Clippers are at Boston on Monday. The Lakers are off until Tuesday at Phoenix. The Rams dropped to 5-6 after a 37-20 loss to the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles running back Saquon Barkley had 255 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. The Chargers are on Monday Night Football tonight against Baltimore. Chargers coach Jim Harbaugh is 0-2 against his brother John Harbaugh, Baltimore's head coach. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 invites you to join us in celebrating the season of giving by being part of the solution. As we enjoy great food, family, warmth, and well wishes in whatever our festive tradition may be, we share the beauty of the season by reaching out to the less fortunate. Please help us to help others with the KBLA Cover the Houseless Cozy Community Coat and Blanket Drive. All you have to do is drop off new or clean, gently used winter coats and blankets in the KBLA lobby during business hours. Now through December 20th, all of the coats and blankets will be donated to unsheltered individuals and families experiencing houselessness. Simply bring your donation to 4434 Crenshaw Boulevard in Los Angeles, near Vernon Avenue, from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. weekdays. That's 4434 Crenshaw in historic Leimert Park. During the holidays and every day, let's remember, we keep us safe. We keep us warm. We are the safety net. And together, we can cover the unsheltered. Get caught up in the spirit of the season, the spirit of love. Make a difference with your friends at KBLA Talk 1580.
It's time to set our intentions, set our self-care, and find our focus. This is Mindful Mondays with Sahara Ali on KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome forward. Yes, it's Mindful Mondays here on First Things First. And why not start your week off being mindful, not only about what's going on in the moment, but about what's coming up and what you have on your agenda for the week. This is a special week or a very important week. It's the Thanksgiving holiday week. It's the time of the year that we typically are looking and thinking about things that we are thankful for. It is the time when we fill up our gratitude journals, and, we are more mindful of the things that are going right as opposed to the things that are going wrong. Typically, that's what we do around this time of year. But it's Mindful Mondays, and what I would like to do right now is to bring in our very, 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 very special guest, who is really not, I don't know, maybe not even a guest anymore, more like home for Sahara Ali. Good morning, Sahara. How are you?
I'm beautiful. Good morning, Dr. Sunshine and the KBLA family. Welcome to Mindful Mondays, where we get our minds right for the week by setting positive intentions, honoring our mind and body through meditation, prayer, and affirmation as we step unapologetically into our week, being on purpose with our faith, truth, wisdom, and power. Our Mindful Monday affirmation this week is, today with gratitude, I surrender to prayer and meditation for divine guidance, opening my heart and mind to review, reframe, rethink, rework, and release all things to the Most High, embracing truth. Our Mindful Monday task this week is to honor the season of gratitude, activating emotional empowerment, embracing thankfulness. As we enter Mercury retrograde today until December 15th, allowing us to reframe, review, rethink, rework, and release all things, blocking truth and our highest good. It's time to be emotionally empowered by reframing the illusions binding us to depression, anger, frustration, and helplessness. My grandmother always said, be in it, not of it. It's time to be in the action of knowing of things, but don't be of it by giving your power away to it. Yes, that's a lot. That's my grandmother's language. We all have a karmic path to live and a divine purpose to fulfill. We benefit by knowing and honoring our divine power, stepping unapologetically into this time with faith, speaking truth, living from a place of wisdom, being empowered by divine right action. We activate emotional empowerment by setting positive intentions, honoring our mind and body through meditation, affirmation, and prayer. Self-empowerment is the key here, allowing us to rethink our priorities, manifesting wholeness, moving from darkness to light, reaping our true harvest with pride, reframing where we stand. So let's all move forward today with our Mindful Monday meditation, unapologetically activating emotional empowerment, trusting the Most High as our call to action. Pause a moment right here and take a breath. Breathe in relaxation, and as you exhale, let go, relax, and center yourself. Inhale and be right here, right now. And exhale, surrender, releasing all resistance and expectation. Be centered, be grounded, be right here, right now, and inhale, receiving peace of mind, open to divine wisdom, embracing your life purpose and your life gifts. Breathe that in. And now exhale. Exhale, opening to a deeper state of personal empowerment, resting your mind, calming your spirit. Relax, let go. Inhale, affirm the power of self-love right here, right now, in this moment, honoring self-love, honoring your power. And exhale, setting new intentions, releasing all things, honoring the Most High, embracing truth. Feel that, honoring the Most High and embracing truth. Inhale right here, consciously deciding to reframe your actions, embracing inner wisdom, the truth of the wisdom in the world behind your eyes, that inner wisdom. Exhale with confidence, bold, present, and ready to reshape the perspective of all things, change your mind, change your life, shift the perspective of all things. Inhale, standing in clarity, holding the wisdom of that world behind your eyes with clarity. And exhale, opening your heart to truth and divine right action supported by our Mindful Monday affirmation. Calm your mind, calm your spirit, and take the biggest breath you've had all morning. And as you inhale, listen with love and compassion to our Mindful Monday affirmation for the week. Exhale, calming your spirit. Our Mindful Monday affirmation. Today, with gratitude, I surrendered to prayer and meditation for divine guidance, opening my heart and mind to review, reframe, rethink, rework, and release all things to the Most High, embracing truth. Releasing all things to the Most High, embracing truth. Sit with that. And in this time of gratitude, hold the wisdom and truth of the world behind your eyes. Thank you, Dr. Sunshine, Tavis Smiley, Miles, and the 1580 KBLA family. Have an unapologetic, mindfully blessed week, opening your heart and mind to review, reframe, rethink, and rework, and most of all, release all things to the Most High and embrace the truth of your soul, honoring and celebrating yourself. Have a beautiful season of Thanksgiving. Be mindful in the Mercury retrograde. Give yourself time before you leave the house. Be mindful of traffic. And if you're negotiating something, read the contracts. And also be willing to go inside, and review who you're willing to be as we go forward in this time of shift and transition.
Thank you so very much. Wow. I know that really hit someone. Listen, if you are negotiating, please read the contracts. That is very specific, and I feel like someone really needed to hear that. Wow, what a beautiful way to start the day. Thank you so much, Sahara, for sharing your calming presence, for guiding us through that powerful meditation. I'm sure listeners are feeling a little more grounded after that, a little more centered and ready to take on whatever the day brings. For anyone listening, Sahara Ali, please reach out and find her. Trust me, whether it's meditation, yoga, stress management, Sahara, as you have heard today, has the tools that can truly help to meditation can help to transform your entire life. So thank you again, Sahara, for being with us this morning for Mindful Mondays. It is a good thing to stop, to pause, to breathe, to reflect, to center, to ground, and to get ready to take the next step into the next leg. And we are getting ready to roll into the next leg. Coming up this hour, I will be joined with Dr. Kwaku Ramel Smith, and we're talking about bouncing back from loss, something that we can all tap into and relate to. So we'll dive right in. Thanks for rolling with me. I am Dr. Sunshine. This is First Things First with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
It's Black Friday build-up at Lowe's. Get a head start on Black Friday all month long with exclusive deals. Right now, get 25% off select pre-lit artificial Christmas trees just in time for the holidays. And get a free select tool when you buy a select battery or combo kit. So don't wait to save. Shop these deals in-store or online now because Lowe's knows deals. Valid 11/21 through 11/27 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months, and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. If you need help getting your resume in order, finding job training, or landing a job, we've got 3 great options for you. First, the City of Los Angeles has WorkSource centers across the area offering free job support. The California Workforce Development Board can help you with everything from GED prep to vocational training at no cost to you. On the federal level, the Department of Labor's American Job Centers offer a full range of services for job seekers and businesses alike. Visit careeronestop.org, or for more info, just call California's Help Center or visit cwdb.ca.gov or call 916-657-1440. For the City of Los Angeles programs, go to ewdd.lacity.gov or call 213-744-7300. All these services are free to help you get your next job. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down, get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
Welcome forward. You are tapped into, yes, Dominique DiPrima with First Things First. I am your guest host today. My name is Dr. Sunshine Crawford. I am the host of the Dr. Sunshine Show, which airs Sunday mornings from 8 to 9. But I am more than happy to be joining you this morning and sitting in for Dominique DiPrima while she is out and traveling. So we are wishing her well. We're wishing her traveling graces and mercies and all of the good things. But let's just definitely jump into this hour. Today's topic is one that you can all relate to. We're bouncing back from loss, whether it's athletics or an election or a job or a personal setback. Whatever it is, a part of life, but we can respond to these things and we can make all the difference. So joining us is an extraordinary guest, Dr. Kwaku Ramel Smith. He's a licensed psychologist, chief wellness officer of Blacksmith Psychological Consultative Services, and a thought leader in, mental health, along with social justice and community empowerment, a combination that is just empowering. So from counseling Olympians to working in correctional facilities and schools, Dr. Smith brings a wealth of experience in resilience and overcoming adversity. Wow. From Olympians to correctional facilities and schools. Wow. Welcome, Dr. Smith, and thank you so much for joining us this morning.
No, thank you, Dr. Sunshine. I've been listening to you all morning. Conversations have just been on fire, been excellent. And I just feel just so energized from just the last part. I was like, maybe she should have did the whole hour.
That Mindful Monday, right?
It is absolutely necessary and needed, and it's actually like the perfect segue for when we talk about bouncing back, because it's really just about like how do we, catch our breath. Like when you get hit with something, it's like a gut punch, and it's like you literally can't breathe. And what I always tell people, I said, where there's breath, there's hope. When there's no breath, then we got some trouble. But if there's breath, there's hope, and that mindfulness is what gets that breathing back in, and then allows us to think and to be in unison with the mind and the body. So excellent segment.
Well, you are a doctor that specializes. One thing that you focus on and specialize in is mental health, and I am also a psychotherapist myself. So we both understand how important that mind-body connection is. So I think you're connecting those dots. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. No doubt about it.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So, Dr. Smith, let's start with the basics. Loss, okay? Loss can look different from everyone. And I think that your experience is so unique in the vast differences and difference of people that you help and have encountered. So whether it's losing the competition or facing a job termination, I don't know, dealing with personal failure. In your experience, Dr. Smith, what is the psychological impact of loss? And why is it so hard for people to bounce back?
Yeah, that's excellent what we said, because when you talk about loss, it can come in so many ways, as you stated, because it's a difference if I lose a game versus if I lose a loved one. Whether it's a spouse through death, of course, or whether I lose a friendship or whether I lose a job. So first of all, we have to look and say, what type of loss is it? Because if I lose a game, how I approach an athlete can be a little bit different versus if I'm talking with someone, and this, being in a therapy game, if you lose a loved one, that's a different type of loss. Because like
yes,
you said,
indeed.
And if there's no breath, then that creates a completely different normal that we have to try to accommodate. So let's break it down first. Let's say I'm talking with a person who plays sports. If we lose a game, the first thing what we have to do is say, listen, whether it's the NFL or whether it's the NBA, you say we got a quick chance to turn around. So what we have to do is we have to bounce back quickly. As a former athlete, one of the things that they would teach us is you have to have a short memory. That means if you lost, if you did something bad, you have to let it. You have to trust in yourself and your skills that you had before, that what happened was an anomaly. Like, that's not really the case. Like, hey, what happened was a fluke. I already got the skills to pay the bills, and guess what? I can do what I need to do on the next go round. So what you do is say, hey, just next time up, I'm ready to go. In fact, I'm looking for that. So when you have that type of loss, when you can come back quickly, it kind of is good because you get a chance to prove yourself again. But now if I'm working with an Olympic athlete, it's a little bit different because they can have great races within the world championships, within just different individual races, but everybody knows there's something special about the Olympics. So now we only got every 4 years. And if you don't do what you're supposed to do, that could be the last time, or you have to wait another 4 years. So that conversation is a little bit different. So example, for now, what we're doing is we're preparing for what we call the next quad for LA 2028. That's right in y'all backyard. So for our athletes coming, all we're telling them is now is this is what we prepare for 2028. So a lot of times people will look for the Olympics, but they got to understand anybody who's going to win a gold medal, make any kind of podium, or even just make a team, they're putting in the work right now. So when we start talking about how do we bounce back, what we got to know is sometimes it's not a quick bounce back. And we got to be willing to put in the time, the sweat. We got to have the desire, the dedication, the determination, and the desire to not let a bump get us and then let that long gap frustrate us. Because, sometimes like we mess up, we want a quick chance right away. This is the time where you have to understand, guess what? Let me take a deep breath. Go into that mindset, say, what do I need to do? And then this is where it's so important to strategize. What do I need to do? Sometimes when we talk about bouncing back, it's a couple of things we can do. One is to do the exact same thing that we did before, but what we say as a layman's term of insanity is do the same thing.
I would know it. Yeah.
It's not going to happen. So usually if you do that, you said, I'm already heading myself towards failure. But then you look at other things and you say, do I need to tweak this? Because I'm not that far. It was like, I lost, but if I would have just did this, or if I would have just did that, like those are the little tweaks. Or sometimes you just say, hey, do I need to do a complete overhaul? Everything I did, it was tore up from the floor up. Let me just start from ground zero again and build. And those are the decisions we have to make. So the first thing what we have to do is we have to get our ego under control. And that's in two ways, because one way it could be our ego is so big that we don't think we need to do anything different and we stay in that wrong path. Or sometimes our ego is fragile, and you probably deal with this a lot. You see people who are the most competent, who are the best, but they deal or they suffer from what we call imposter syndrome.
Oh, yeah, you definitely get into something there if you're pivoting to imposter syndrome. But before you do, let me dial back a little bit. When you talk about bouncing back, sometimes I love what you said, and I want to go back so that we don't miss it. Sometimes we have to have a short memory. I think that is really, really powerful. And oftentimes it's a tool that we need to employ. A short memory. You touched on it a little bit. Can you talk to me a little bit more? How do you, when you're dealing with athletes, how do you help them determine if the memory should be short or lasting? And what does that mean in that context?
As far as having a short memory, it's like this. I think of it in two ways. I never want to forget what happened, so it doesn't repeat. So But I don't want to let you know. My dad used to tell me when I broke up with a girlfriend, he said, hey, don't do your next and treat it like your ex. It's like you cannot let the things from the past deal with what's going on right now. So the biggest thing what you have to do is to remember is, hey, if I fall off a horse, I get on. It's that kind of mentality. It's like I made a mistake or I fall, but guess what? It's not going to stop me. I know what I'm built to do because what have I done? I've trained for this. I prepared for this. I'm qualified. I understand that a hiccup can come at anybody. Obstacle comes. I've been trained to go over hurdles. And if I fall, to get right back up and go. So when we talk about having a short memory, what that means is don't forget all of the things you've been qualified and trained to do that got you in that position in the first time. And we're not going to let one mistake erase all of that training that we've done in the past.
I think that is extremely it's extremely profound, because I think there are not enough of us that take the time to think about whether or not we should be employing long-term or short-term memory. And I think both can be a positive thing. You're right. I absolutely do not want to forget totally an experience, but there are times when I need to move forward quickly. In other words, the short-term memory, in other words, don't get stuck here. If you get stuck here, you'll go from building a tent here temporarily to a brick house with a cement foundation. You don't want to get stuck. So yeah, I think that was really, really important to stop and highlight that. Now, I know that you're pivoting into ways to strategize resilience and recovery, and I definitely want to dive into that when we come forward. We're going to take a quick pause for the cause. I also have a caller that I would like to get to. All of those things when we come forward. Listen, people, we are on with Dr. Smith. We're talking about understanding loss and its impact. So there's so much to gain, and we're diving right in when we come forward. Roll with me.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Mimi Brown with 4 things you should know from BIN News. The NYPD will have a new police commissioner today. Mayor Eric Adams will be swearing in Jessica Tisch to lead the department. Los Angeles is a step closer to becoming a so-called sanctuary city. An LA city councilman says the newly passed ordinance is a direct shot at President-elect Donald Trump. What could be a record-breaking Thanksgiving travel week at LAX is in full swing. On Sunday, airport officials said 222,000 people and 94,000 vehicles passed through the gates. Similar crowds are expected all week. Fans of the McDonald's McRib will soon be able to buy a jug of the sauce used on the famous sandwich. The Golden Arches is selling a whole lot of McRib sauce jugs online starting today. The jugs cost about $20. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 at BINnews.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. At Blindster, we offer custom-made faux wood and real wood blinds and shutters, cellular shades, Roman shades, bamboo shades, exterior shades, and more, all at factory direct prices. Don't pay too much for new blinds. Go to Blindster.com.
Is this the This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
I'm a bad man.
A monumental win Sunday for the UCLA women's basketball team. The Brewers beat number 1 South Carolina 77-62 in front of a sellout crowd at Pauley Pavilion. The win snapped South Carolina's 43-game winning streak. It was also the first win for UCLA over a number 1 team in program history. London Jones led the 5-0 Bruins with 15 points off the bench. The Clippers started a 4-game road trip with a 125-99 win at Philadelphia. James Harden had 23 points and 8 assists. The Clippers are at Boston on Monday. The Lakers are off until Tuesday at Phoenix. The Rams dropped to 5-6 after a 37-20 loss to the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles running back Saquon Barkley had 255 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. The Chargers are on Monday Night Football tonight against Baltimore. Chargers coach Jim Harbaugh is 0-2 against his brother John Harbaugh, Baltimore's head coach. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Tips to help improve basic steps for building a budget in 2024. Building a budget can help you achieve and reach your financial goals. With a budget, you can keep track of your spending, avoid and get out of debt, limit overspending, pay bills on time, and build solid savings habits. What's the best way to get started? Figure out how much to set aside for expenses, like rent, mortgage, bills, groceries, and entertainment. Understanding your past financial habits can help you make the proper adjustments for your budget. Adjusting to a budget can take time as you work to find the right balance, but keep working on it. For more financial health tips, visit chase.com or stop by a local branch. This segment is sponsored by JP Morgan Chase & Company.
As you're spending time with your loved ones or just taking some time to steal away for yourself, we appreciate you keeping it locked to KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
So this new dose is... nope, that's not it. The price is nowhere to be found.
Mr. Green? Hi, it's all good. We've got this.
This is not just help from a Walgreens pharmacist.
Oh, new prescriptions. Cool. Let me check to see if these are the lowest cost options covered by your Medicare plan.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
This is someone supporting you every step of the way. Chat with a pharmacist today to find help saving. This is the human kind of help. Walgreens.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks Vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks Vapors. Use as directed. Vapo Stick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max used for adults only.
Are you an entrepreneur looking to take your business to new heights? KBLA Talk 1580 is your partner in success. Every day, we celebrate and elevate Black-owned businesses across our community. Our KBLA SMB Marketplace currently features The Cookie Dip, Bad Ash Bakes, Hair Concoction, Higher Education Accreditation Consulting, LACC Radiology Technology Department, and Malik Books. Your business deserves to be heard. Let KBLA Talk 1580 amplify your voice and connect you with our powerful community of listeners. Email smb@kbla1580.com today. That's smb@kbla1580.com. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black. At KBLA Talk 1580, we do more than just talk.
You got a big mouth. Hello, Joe, you're up. Welcome.
We're unapologetically progressive, and we don't black down.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome forward. You are tapped into Dominique DiPrima's First Things First. I am your guest host this morning. I'm Dr. Sunshine, host of the Dr. Sunshine Show. And I appreciate you tapping in with us this morning. Listen, before I rejoin the conversation with Dr. Kwaku Smith, I want to jump over to the phone lines. I believe we have Fixico on the line. Good morning and welcome to First Things First with Dominique DiPrima.
Good morning, Dr. Sunshine. First time I ever got a tan on a rainy day by telephone.
I like it. I like it.
All right, well, let's keep it rolling. Happy Native American Month. I'm calling to invite your listening audience to a free presentation this Saturday, November 30th at the Bill Brew Library, which is at 150 East El Segundo, from 1 to 3 for ages 13 years and above. My presentation is entitled Seminole Maroons, a retrospective. Oh, you want to jump in there on something?
Okay, a retrospective.
Yeah, a retrospective highlighting my years as a descendant and a researcher. And it's important that because our African ancestors were not immigrants. They were kidnapped victims, transferred from crime scene to crime scene, and many of them took refuge with Native Americans.
Yes. Listen. You are absolutely right. Definitely appreciate you popping in with that informative information. I think listeners got it. And I appreciate you calling. I'm going to jump back over to Dr. Kwaku Smith this morning and reignite the conversation. Thank you so much, Fixico, for calling in. Dr. Smith, I want to jump right back in with you. We're talking about strategies for resilience and recovery, and you began to go into some ways that we might be able to approach bouncing back and recovering from loss. I definitely want to, tag back over and give you an opportunity to talk about some of those strategies and approaches that you may find effective in helping people bounce back from a major setback.
Well, yeah, I think, as we go about it, we have to look again what we stated before, like what is the type of setback? Because we're kind of in the athletic realm, and those are games. And even if a person doesn't get exactly what they want, it can have some financial ramifications, but it doesn't have like the life issues, like if you lose an election, if you lose a job, if you lose a spouse. So first we have to recognize like what type of loss is it? And then we had kind of started before we said, well, do we need to tweak it or do we need to overhaul it? So the biggest thing I tell people what we have to do is say, once we bounce back, because it's usually a difficult situation, the first thing we have to ask ourselves is, do I want this? Because sometimes to climb up the hill the second time takes so much energy, some people don't even have the will. And so I said, if we're going to do it, the first thing what we have to have is the mindset that I'm going to do this. I'm going to be intentional about it. And whatever things may come, I'm not going to let anything deter me. I'm not going to let anything stop me. I'm determined to get back to not only where I was, but to get to a higher state. And so when we do that, we start to ask ourselves, hey, do I need to do this by myself or do I need a team? With some things where it's just internal, where you say, I got to work out some self within. This is an internal problem. It has nothing to do with the outside. If I can fix me and the things that I need to, then guess what? I can do that. But then sometimes, and most of the time, it usually takes a team. It takes multiple people around to say, hey, let me look at it from a different perspective, because we can have those clouded glasses on, so to speak. So we have to ask ourselves, who do I need around me? And once we figure out who we have around us, we set a goal. And then from setting that goal, we reverse engineer it and say, okay, well, what are all of the things that I'm going to need? So I just take it from a standpoint where my goals, I look at it like vision. And so you say, well, vision is to literally to see. But then we say, well, first I got to envision it. I got to be able to see it.
You got to have the vision, but you need to envision it first.
You got the vision. Then what you got to do is you got to have a provision. Do I have everything I need? So not only the team, but do I have the resources, the financial capabilities? Do I have everything I'm going to need to be able to make this journey from this goal we just envisioned to be able to make it happen? And then the next thing I do is we go through supervision. What's supervision? I got to make sure I got a timeline. We always say, I'm going to do this, but I'm going to do it tomorrow, or I'm going to get to this. And we don't have any structure. That supervision is, what's that thing that's kind of overlooking you, to be able to recognize, like, hey, I'm on pace or I'm not on pace, so I can keep this going. Then what we have to recognize is revision. Because in revision, guess what? Everything doesn't go perfectly the same way the first time. So we got to have a plan A, a plan B, a plan C, all the way down to double Z. But then the last thing what we have is what we call a division. So you say, well, what do I mean by division? Well, I look at that as mathematical signs. So we have addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. The people in my life, the people on my team, do they add to me or do they subtract? Do they multiply or do they divide? See, the people who add and multiply, those are the people I need in my life, whether they're part of the plan or just people who support me. But those people who subtract and divide, I got to spend a little less time with them. But then when we do that, the bigger question becomes, what are we to ourselves? Because we can have a great team, but if we divide or subtract from ourselves, that's the worst thing, and that's where we go into the self-sabotage, meaning to the first question, do I have the will? Because if you have the will, you automatically become addition or multiplication to yourself. So what do? We have to have that goal where we envision it. We make sure we have the provision. We keep it satisfied with supervision on the timeline. We know that revision is a place. And then we look at that division, meaning who are the people that's there to really support us, especially ourselves.
Okay, so I want to recap. So it's the envision, it's the provision, it's the supervision, and then the division.
And revision is right.
Oh, revision. So supervision, revision, division. Nice,
yes,
nice. It's having a vision and breaking that vision into pieces, if you will, so that we can do that. Okay, Dr. Smith, let's shift gears just for a moment. In one of your recent pieces, you talked about the problem behind the problem in Milwaukee's racial climate. I know that is an area that you've dealt with, in which, you know, you talk about division. Racial climate creates division and chaos, if you will. How does systemic loss, like ongoing social or racial injustice, affect communities? And I'll start there, but then I definitely want to go into what steps that we can take to heal collectively. But I guess my first question is, how does systemic loss, like ongoing social and racial injustice, affect communities?
Yeah, and I think that's the perfect question, because now we're getting to the crux of the matter. When you start to look at that article specifically, the problem behind the problem, where we're at in Milwaukee, just to give you an example, I know we're in LA, but just to give you a small taste of what's going on in Milwaukee, we're always in the top 5 of the worst places for a black person to grow up. And I'm talking about every social determinant from early childhood towards death, early death. We have the highest level of incarceration. In fact, the zip code 53206 is the most incarcerated zip code in the United States of America.
Where is that?
That's in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Wait,
and so
say that again?
Yes, the zip code that I grew up in, 53206, is the most incarcerated zip code in the United States. And so by de facto, because the United States locks up more than any other nation in the world, we are the most locked up. Now, there's other prisons, other correctional facilities that I think could maybe have a different level of danger inside. But when we talk about mass, black people make up around 6% of the state of Wisconsin. But at any given time, we can make up anywhere from 38 to 53% of the prison population.
Right. So we do know that prisons are disproportionately populated. But I think that statistic...
that goes into... I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I think that statistic is so mind-boggling and shocking to me, because when we look at incarceration or incarcerated people in America, the country at large, when we think about systems and when we talk about systems of prisons and people who are incarcerated, I don't think, been in conversations where the city of Milwaukee or the state of Wisconsin is a large part of the conversation. Is that like a hidden, stat in there?
No, it's a documentary that was built upon it, unfortunately. But I think because incarceration, I think the beautiful documentary by Ava DuVernay in 13, highlighted that this is a issue all across America. So everybody is looking within their state at that disproportionality. So sometimes we can be globally minded, sometimes we can be nationally minded, but sometimes we can be geographically minded. So we see the things within our state, just as the caller who you had talked about, who got to 22 years because he missed the third 3 strikes you're out by a week. But that's the part of it. See, it was those draconian laws. You know, we go back to the 94 crime bill and we look and we see how just like you go back to Michelle Alexander's the new Jim Crow, we go back to convict leasing, we go back to all of the different things
convict leasing
after
just
the
happened
enslavement
here.
of our people, after the enslavement of our people, how it continues to be that systemic trauma. And so when that trauma comes, it also comes at a heavy price. And that price comes with what the frustration of people. So now you say, you know, I always hear that stat, like if all the black people would gather our money, we'd be the 13th highest GDP in the world.
Right.
But the problem is when you have that systemic racism, when you have that, you don't have the unity that you would want to have. And because you don't have that unity, you have different people. Dr. Claude Anderson speaks about meritorious manumission very, very frequently. And I'm very fond of that because what he talks about is during the times of enslavement, those who didn't want enslavement that looked like us, the things that they would do to try to get their freedom. And sometimes it meant snitching on the people like the Denmark Vesey's, like the Nat Turners, the people who were going to do uprisings, the people who were going to escape. And so they would trade in everybody else's freedom for their own personal freedom, and we still deal with that now.
We still
talk about laws.
We definitely still see that today. And when you were going to say when we talk about laws, and I just want to jump in really fast to say, we definitely do see that today. And that was what you just described was like a trending topic around as we approach the election. Are you going to vote for the masses or are you going to vote individually and personally? To that matter, are you going to vote against your own best interest to vote for the masses? So we have both of those things happening all at once.
Can I just interject that? Because, see, I think that when you say systemic trauma, that's it. Because in the beginning, we were a community person. It was never an I in it. It was always
there's a lot of eyes on the team right now.
but because you know what? Just like when we talk about those voluntary immigrants, people who come in, the more that they go down in generations, the more they assimilate into American society. And so it's the same thing with a lot of people from the African-American community. You start to think, although we've been here for generations upon generations, there's been different levels of hurt and different levels of pain. And depending on a person's consciousness, a person's level of being and awareness is going to dictate their decisions. And if a person has been hurt and they don't think anybody is looking for them, what do? They start to think that it's just me. The more they assimilate into American society, where it's a dog-eat-dog world, where I'll stab my partner in the back, and long as I make the most and I get the most, that justifies the ends, versus thinking like, hey, if Dr. Sunshine don't win, then Dr. Kwaku don't win. It's like, it's us together. I don't want to eat and you starving. That's not a victory for me. And I think what we have to do, and I believe this is why radio stations like where I'm on at WNOV in Milwaukee, KBLA, with Tavis Smiley, has created with a gang of individuals who are so powerful and collective, is to help reawaken our collective conscience, that part of us that states that the only way we're going to win, specifically in a society like this, is if we stick together. And the beautiful thing about black people, when we get criticized most of the time, is that when we do try to help, we don't just look out for our own, we look out for everybody. And that's the magnanimous nature of us, and I'll specifically say for our black queens. When we look at the mother of civilization, the mother must look out for all of her children. And when we look at what we do, we don't just say, hey, let's get this for us, even though some say we should.
Yeah, right,
but we understand that once we do something for us, it works out for everybody, because the truth of the matter is, if I only make it good for me, the person who doesn't have it good, guess what? They're going to come and not make it good for us. So as a nation, it behooves us to have some level of understanding and compassion for the least of us, so they don't take it out on the most of us.
You are that is absolute wisdom. But when you talk about the number of people who are currently incarcerated, I mean, we can't help but think it's difficult to come together as a collective when it's so large of a percentage of the population, the black population in America, is in fact disproportionately incarcerated. Listen, you are dropping nuggets and a whole lot of information. So I'm hopeful that folks are taking notes as Dr. Kwaku is breaking it down. Definitely more when we come forward with Dr. Kwaku. Listen, when we come forward, I would love to talk about I guess really I want to talk about practical advice. The hour has flown by, and I think I want to get into some practical advice. So stay with us. So much more to talk about when we come forward.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Add confidence to every holiday adventure and get it done with a rugged and capable Chevy truck or SUV. Find your red tag. Get 0% APR financing for 36 months on select popular Chevy models when you finance with GM Financial. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
Offer available on all 2025 Equinox and 2024 Silverado, Equinox EV, Blazer EV, and Silverado EV models. Monthly payment is $2,860 for every $1,000 you finance. Example down payment 22.2%. Must finance with GM Financial. Some customers may not qualify. Not available with lease and some other offers. Take new retail delivery by 12/2/24.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Are you interested in catching up on all the latest entertainment news, trending topics, and exciting interviews? I got you. Tune in to The Raw Report with Robin Ayers, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. I'm your host, Robin Ayers. Join me every weekday with some of the best entertainment contributors in the business as we break down what's going on, who's got next, and what not to miss. Only on The Raw Report with Robin Ayers.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Autopsy Initiative provides a second autopsy free of charge for victims' families who have lost their loved ones due to a police-related death. The services offered through the initiative include the completion of a second autopsy, disclosure of preliminary findings, and a final autopsy report. A police-related death is when an individual is harmed by police officers using deadly force, which results in an individual's death. Police-related death includes in-custody deaths, including those that arise during contact with law enforcement officers during arrest, pursuit, booking, transport, or incarceration. The Autopsy Initiative has a team of board-certified pathologists on call. An autopsy request may be completed by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, which may include the victim's spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or lawyer. To request a free second autopsy for a victim of police violence, please visit knowyourrightscamp.com. That's knowyourrightscamp.com. Then click on Autopsy, then click on Request. At KBLA, we believe in justice for victims of police violence. We say their names, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
We knew you'd stick around. This is LA's home for progressive talk radio. Be heard. Welcome back to KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome forward. You're tapped into First Things First with Dominique DiPrima. I am joined in this hour with Dr. Kwaku Smith. Now, Dr. Kwaku, the hour, I feel like the hour is betraying us because we only have a few minutes left of it. And so therefore, with it, I would love to utilize it in the most effective way. Dr. Kwaku, you are really dropping a lot of information and nuggets. Can you just, let us know what you think about this polarized experience of loss that a lot of us are facing now in response to the election outcomes? And honestly, some cultural shifts in response to the election outcomes. How can we, maintain, or how can we find a level of optimism right now? A lot of folks are grieving the loss from the election and props and local elections. So how can we remain optimistic?
Well, it's a couple of things. The first thing, what we got to do is be realistic and be honest and say we are grieving it. I think it's important to take that 8 count. And also we got to recognize that sometimes you say, how do I bounce back? if the strategy is not done, because we don't know what's going to happen with Project 2025. We don't know what's going to happen. But this is the one thing we do once we look at the sorrow and the challenge ahead of us. The first thing is we know that our ancestors have gone through something greater. And that DNA that resided in them resides in us. So we have the power to overcome anything with a collective mindset. So the first thing is what we got to believe is that we can and we will get over this. If you have a woe is me type of attitude or the world is over, then it does become that way. But if you say, hey, no matter what they throw at me, we're going to do this. And then it goes back to what we said before. We have to be intentional. We have to get our plan. We have to get a strategy together to know what are we going to do. Because if we believe we can get through it, then we create a plan. And then what we do is we make sure that we tap into the creator. We tap into the ancestors. We tap into our team around us, our friends, our loved ones. Because once you have that power, this is the thing. None of us know the time or date where anything is going to happen. But this is what I say, and this is one of the things that the quote-unquote founding father said. He said, I regret, Nathan Hale said, I regret, but I have one life to give for my country. Well, I feel the same way as Patrick Henry. Give me liberty or give me death, and that's what I'm willing to do for my people. So not only for me, but for my posterity, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. And once we get that mindset that no matter what it takes, 50 Cent, get rich or die trying, or we're going to get liberty or die trying. And once we put that mindset into ourselves, nothing is going to make us fear. And once we have no fear of anything, we become dangerous. And with the plan and the dangerous people, oh, that's something that nobody wants to see.
No, you are absolutely, with a plan, a man with a plan, a woman with a plan, hey, and a collective community, the two of those things combined. That right there is that's some dynamite right there. That's some dynamite right there. So listen, before we wrap this thing up, can you tell me, how can, this is the holidays. It's supposed to be the most wonderful time of the year, but you and I both know for so many people, it's not the most wonderful time of the year. And many people tend to isolate. And this is, Dr. Kwaku, in response to loss. Most people are withdrawing because they've lost a loved one or lost a sense of community, lost a job. They're lost from loss in this season. Can you give us, just really quickly ways that people can, who may feel isolated, begin to find their feet and network during this season?
Yeah, the first thing what I always tell people is when something seems like all hope is lost, then I try to focus on that attitude of gratitude, saying, what are the things that I've forgotten that I am still blessed to have up in my life? Because oftentimes we think of the loss and we magnify that, which is real, but we say, what are also the blessings? What are also the good things that I have in life? And guess what? Now this is where the community comes in, because if a person is isolated, they don't want to see anybody. They don't want to do anything. This is where it's incumbent upon those who love them to go pull them out. Dr. Sunshine, I ain't going to let you be here by yourself. Nope, you coming out with me. We going to do this. Or guess what? I'm going to stay right here. We going to watch Netflix in your house. Guess what we going to do? We going to cook together. I'm going to make sure that you're not alone. So this is the thing. If a person is isolated, no, that digs us deeper into a depression. So if you know somebody is like that, then that's where the team, that's where the family has to come in.
That's
right.
right.
You have to go above and beyond. But if you are that person, when you do get that invite, when you do get that person who wants to come in, let them in, because if you stay in that level of isolation, that goes into that hopelessness feeling.
Hopeless. So listen, if you do get the invite, open up to accept it. And if you can invite, then let the sunshine in. That's what I like to say. Listen, Dr. Kwaku, you have been an absolute gem, who has not only been a gem, but shared gems with us here today on First Things First with Dominique DiPrima. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to share your experience, your life, your opinions, your thoughts with us. So thank you so much for joining today. For those of you listening, stay with me. The hours are flying by, but this 8 o'clock hour coming up, I'll be joined with Dr. Gloria Morrow, who also is not new to the KBLA family. We're going to dig in with her to talk about tools to manage the moment. More coming when we come forward. I'm your guest host today, Dr. Sunshine, and there's so much more to unpack. Roll with me.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Mimi Brown with 4 things you should know from BIN News. The NYPD will have a new police commissioner today. Mayor Eric Adams will be swearing in Jessica Tisch to lead the department. Los Angeles is a step closer to becoming a so-called sanctuary city. An LA city councilman says the newly passed ordinance is a direct shot at President-elect Donald Trump. What could be a record-breaking Thanksgiving travel week at LAX is in full swing. On Sunday, airport officials said 222,000 people and 94,000 vehicles passed through the gates. Similar crowds are expected all week. Fans of the McDonald's...
We offer